Hello, fellow adventurers. Today, we're jetting off to Belfast, the capital of Northern Ireland, a city that's equal parts history, grit, and charm. Sure, you've heard of the Titanic and the Troubles, but I'm here to take you beyond the obvious. Buckle up for a journey through Belfast's quirkiest corners, strangest facts, and offbeat experiences you won't find in your average guidebook. Let's dive in. Arrival and first impressions. Touching down in Belfast, you'll likely arrive at Belfast International or George Best City Airport, named after the legendary footballer who once said, "I spent a lot of money on booze, birds, and fast cars. The rest I just squandered." That's the vibe here. Unpretentious and full of character. The city's compact, so grab a coffee at a spot like Established Coffee in the Cathedral Quarter, and let's start exploring. Fun fact, Belfast was once nicknamed Linenopolis because it produced most of the world's linen in the 19th century. You can still feel that industrial buzz in the air. The Titanic's weird side. First stop, the Titanic Belfast Museum. Everyone knows the ship was built here, but did you know it's tied to some bizarre tales? Locals once claimed the ship's hull number, 390,904, looked like no pope when viewed in a mirror, a rumor that fueled whispers of a cursed construction among superstitious workers. The museum itself is a stunner, shaped like a ship's bow, and inside, you'll ride a mini cable car through a replica shipyard. But here's the unusual bit. Head to the nearby Titanic dry dock and pump house. You can stand where the ship's massive hull once sat. It's so deep, you'll feel like an ant. Pair that with a pint at the Titanic pub and kitchen. Housed in a building older than the ship itself, and you've got a quirky history fix, the peace walls, and a peculiar past. Next, let's venture into West Belfast to see the peace walls. These towering barriers, some up to 25 feet high, were built during the Troubles to separate Catholic and Protestant neighborhoods. What's unusual? They're still standing in 2025, decades after the 1998 Good Friday Agreement, and they're covered in colorful murals and messages from visitors worldwide. Grab a black taxi tour. Drivers often double as storytellers, and hear tales like the one about the singing nun, a local legend who'd belt out hymns to calm tensions. Bring a marker and leave your own note on the wall. It's a living canvas of hope and history. The haunted Crumlin Road Jail. Feeling brave? Head to Crumlin Road Jail, a Victorian prison that's equal parts creepy and fascinating. Closed in 1996, it's now a museum, but its ghosts reportedly never left. Over 100,000 prisoners passed through, and 17 were executed here. Some say you can still hear their footsteps in Sea-Wing. Take the guided tour and descend into the tunnel connecting the jail to the courthouse. Unusual fact, the jail once housed a 12-year-old boy sentenced to hard labor for stealing a loaf of bread. Finish with a whiskey at the on-site distillery, because after ghost stories, you'll need it. St. George's Market and a fishy tale. Time for something lighter. St. George's Market, open Fridays to Sundays. It's a riot of color, smells, and sounds. Think fresh scones, live music, and stalls selling everything from antiques to seaweed. Here's a weird nugget. Belfast has a centuries-old connection to eels. Fishermen once exported them from nearby Loch Ness, Europe's largest freshwater lake, to London's pie shops. Try an eel dish if you dare, or stick to a Belfast bap, a giant bread roll stuffed with sausage and bacon. Bonus tip, haggle for a quirky souvenir, like a vintage linen handkerchief. The Giant's Causeway Day Trip. No Belfast trip is complete without a jaunt to the Giant's Causeway, an hour north, This UNESCO site boasts 40,000 hexagonal basalt columns formed by volcanic eruptions. Or, if you believe the legend, built by giant Finn McCool to fight his Scottish rival. Unusual fact, one column, called the Giant's Boot, looks eerily like a shoe. Locals say it's Finn's lost footwear. Hike the cliffs, snap photos, and dip your toes in the icy Atlantic. On the way back, stop at the Bushmills Distillery, the world's oldest licensed whiskey maker, for a dram with a 400-year backstory. Cave Hill and Napoleon's Nose. Back in Belfast, lace up your boots for Cave Hill. Overlooking the city, this rugged park has caves once used by smugglers and a rock formation dubbed Napoleon's Nose, because it resembles the emperor's profile. Legend says a giant's sneeze shaped the hill. Cheeky, right? The climb's steep, but worth it for panoramic views of Belfast Loch. Pack a picnic and watch ships glide by. Fun fact, Jonathan Swift supposedly drew inspiration for Gulliver's Travels from this spot, imagining the hill as a sleeping giant. The Ulster Museum's oddities. For a rainy day, hit the Ulster Museum in the Botanic Gardens. It's free and brimming with curiosities. Check out the Takabuti mummy, a 2,500-year-old Egyptian whose unwrapping in 1835 was Belfast's first autopsy. Turns out she was stabbed in the back. Then there's the Armada table, made from wood salvaged from a Spanish shipwreck in 1588. Pair this with a stroll through the garden's tropical palm house, and you've got a dose of the unexpected. Pubs and peculiar drinks. Nighttime calls for Belfast's pub scene. The Crown Liquor Saloon is a must. Its gaslit Victorian booths make you feel like a time traveller. Order a black velvet Guinness mixed with champagne, a drink born here in 1861 to mourn Prince Albert's death. For something weirder, try the Duke of York, where you might spot a poutine cocktail. Once illegal moonshine, now served with a wink. Fun fact, Belfast's pubs survived wartime bombings, so every pint feels like a toast to resilience. As we wrap up, Belfast's charm lies in its quirks. A shipyard ghost story, a giant's boot, a singing nun's echo. It's a city that wears its scars proudly and invites you to scribble on its walls. So, wander the cobbled streets, chase the oddities, and let Belfast surprise you. Where to next? Drop me a comment, I'm all ears. Thanks for joining me on this wild ride through Belfast. If you've got your own weird travel tales, share them below. Until next time, keep exploring the unexpected. Cheerio.